Okay, hi. This is my video number 18. Right. So in this video, I'll talk on the structure program, which is chapter 7 in your booklet. Yeah, a structure program. So in the structure program, I will talk specifically on the what we call sub-program, or we call it function. Okay, sub-program. What is function? What is sub-program? What is function? And why do we need to use function? If you look at your booklet here, there are many explanations, yeah, on the use of function. Why do we need function? Actually, we have seen a function, a simple function that already developed or already built in the library of C, like exponent, log, square roots, cosine, and in fact the scanf and printf is also part of the function, but that one is built-in function where you can just use it straight away. But in terms of the function that we have to build, yeah, or we say that user defined function. Okay, for the user defined function. So why do we need this kind of function? First thing is that if you have such a huge problem that need to be solved, that inside this problem might contain solving the system of linear equation, that you might need to find factorial, you need to find many other mathematical function. Then what we can do is split those big problem into a small problem, and for each small problem we put it in function. So your function will look like more structured, more easy to follow, and if there exists a problem, exists a error, then it's much easier for us to find the error. Yeah. If you read at the first 2 pages of your first 2 or 3 pages of your booklet, yeah, you might not understand. So I don't want to go that in detail on your booklets. I will talk based on my experience, as well as I go to the next page directly. So in your booklet, I just go through, all right, at glance. So we have main program here. For example, this is the structure of the of function. Yeah, we will go to detail on this thing. We have the main program. Main program is the program that we develop, that we write main and put in bracket and begin with open curly bracket and close with close curly bracket, and then you can write everything. So that's a main program. So okay, maybe I can write it like this. Okay, so we have let's say this is your main program. I just ignore everything, include everything there. I just ignore those parts and just focus on main program here. All right, so this is, let's say this is your main program. We have open bracket, curly bracket, and close curly bracket, and you have declaration statement and everything here, and we have the executable statement somewhere in your program. All right, so in this program you might need what we call as an external sub program, where that what we call it as a function. So where does we develop those functions? So the function that I mean, we may develop here. Let's say I can put here, let's say, name of the function as function 1 with arguments, and in this function 1, the format or the structure of function 1 just exactly the same as a main. So means that in that function we also begin with open curly bracket and close curly bracket. All this in one program, okay, in one file. All this in one file. Just at the end of main program, after you close the curly brackets, you open another function. Okay, build another function. Then in that function, we have similar structure with the main, and we also have here declaration statement. We have declaration statement here. We have the executable statement, or the process that you want to do, and so on. So in this case, this function can be called. I use the word call. Yeah, I use the word call. Call means that this function can be used into the main program by calling this function. How to call, how to pass the value, and everything, how to process, I will discuss in the example, in more detailed example. Okay, so that's the basic idea. Why do we need these things? And not just one function, we might develop another function down here. We might develop another function down here. So there is unlimited number of function, as long as there is there is a need to build a function. Okay, we can also call function inside the function. Yeah, we have, let's say I have function 2 here. Let's say I develop another function. Let's call that function 2. Okay, and I can also develop another function 3, and so on. And I can call this function 2 into function 1. I can call function 3 into function 1. I can call function 3 into function 2. All right, and then call function 2 into the function 1. It depends on how do we the logical flow that need to be used in order to solve certain problem. Okay, so here in this diagram, in your in your booklet here, you have main program. Yeah, so then in the main program we can develop function 1, function 2, function 3, function 4, function 5, and so on and so forth, as I explained just now. And each of this function can be called into the main program, or can be called into a function itself. And in fact, function 1 can be called into the function 1 itself. Okay, so that's the basic idea of function. Now, and then the next page of function I use in C for the following reason. As I mentioned to you already, if you have a big problem, yeah, that you need to develop big programming, so in that case we cut into a small program, make it small problem. From the big problem we cut it into small problem, and then those small problem we solve into function for each of those. Yeah, and then also we can avoid the redundant. You can read all those things. I'm not interested to read all those things. All right, and the function body. This is the function body, as I mentioned earlier. Here, this is the function body, exactly as the main main program, which is also a function actually. Yeah, we have the declaration statement. We have the process that we want to do. Okay, so if you look at here, this is the format or the structure of the function. We have a function name. We have, after that we close with the bracket here, and inside those bracket is we put the argument or parameter list. What is argument? I'll explain that later in a more detailed case. Then we have declaration statement here, the argument declaration, and then we declare the local variable. Here we have a local variable and global variable. Local variables mean variable that we declare inside the function, that we call it as a local variable, and can only be used inside those function, or valid inside those function. If we develop another function, even we have the same variable names, but still you need to declare, because if you use the same name with the previous function, but you haven't declared in the current function, what happened? The normally error will come up. Yeah, because they did not recognize, the C that does not recognize those variable. Okay, so this is the structure or the format of function. So we have begin with open bracket and close with close curly bracket. Okay. This is the explanation down there. You can read as I mentioned. Here, word communication here. Yeah, you can see the communication or communicating here means that how do we communicate? Yeah, how do we communicate? Or how C communicate basically? How the main program here, the main program communicate with the sub program, or how can this between sub program communicate each other? How can we do that? Communicate means the data from the main program can be passed into sub program, and the data from sub program can also be passed into the main program to be used later on. Okay, I hope you can get some idea from that. It's not difficult. You don't have to worry. Don't get afraid of this. Okay. Now look at this simple example. This is very simple example. Okay. Just a simple program here. We have a void message. So void here means that there is no return value, or in other words, if this is a function, yeah, if this is a function, we do not return the value from that function into the main function, into the main program. Yeah. So in the body of the function, you describe the assignment the function is supposed to perform. So as simple as this, look, a function can be used to display message. Here is an example. So this is the example of how do we use the function just to display the message. Yeah, just to display the message. So look at this example. You have include. So we have main program here. Main program. If you look at, we don't have any declaration statement, because we in this simple program just printing. Yeah, just printing the message. So the function name in this case is print message. Yeah, the function name is print message. This is the function. This is the end of the program. Then we have a sub program or function, and this is the process inside those function. So what does this program do? The first part here, we tell the C that the compiler that in this simple program we have a function named print message. Yeah, just to tell the C that we have a function, and void means those function has no return value. And no return value, as I mentioned earlier, that if there is a return value, means we have some process here like A plus B and so on and so forth, and those value A plus B and everything, we want to use that inside the main program after we call those functions. So that means we return the value. In this case, we don't return any value, and then we print the message. Now print the message here. What programming, what C does is when we call that name print message, so it relates or communicates into that function. Okay, you can see here print message. This is the name of that function, print message. So means it's called that function. So what this function do? Then this function does the print. This is a module called print message. So it's simple task. So if you run this program, the output just come up as this is a module called print message. That's all. Okay. Now, then next is the explanation how to call a function. Is it necessary to write its name? All right. To call the function is only necessary to write the name. So in order to call that function, we just write its name. So it means that this function is called into the main program. Okay. And then I think this is simple. Probably you can just read that part. Now, down there we have a function name. So each function must have a name, and additional care must be taken to avoid having the same name as the library routine names or operating system command. So it means that you can put any names there, like anything, but not try to avoid using function like printf, square root, sqrt, because those function already boot in the C. So we don't have to use the same name. You have any other name you can put in. Okay. Argument list. Now inside the function here, this part here we call it argument. Okay. We have a function. This is argument. This is argument. We call it argument. Okay. So what is the difference between argument, between variable, and we have actual argument, and we also have the other one, we call it as a dummy argument, or what I think there is somewhere here, I forgot this name. Actual argument, actual argument and formal argument. Actual argument, a dummy argument, or formal argument. Okay. Now, in this diagram here is exactly what I have sketched earlier. We have main program. Inside the main program we have, so this is the main program, the first box here. This is the main program. So inside the main program we have many process. Then we call the function 1, and then we have many process, we call function 2, many process, we call function 2, and so on. Okay, where function 1, function 2, function 3 we developed after the main program. So this is the function 1. After function 1 we develop another function 2, and then so inside the function 2 we can call function 3 if you want. Inside the function 1 you can call function 2 or function 3 if you want. And you can also inside the main program you can call function 1, function 2, function 3. It depends on how do we tackle the problem. Okay. Now, function normally contain the type of function. We have couple of type of function. Firstly, function that function with no arguments. Function with no argument means after the function we don't have any arguments, and no return values means the function stand by itself. No return value to the main, and as well as no the function not taken any value from the main. Okay. And the second type is a function with arguments but no return value, and the third is function with argument and return value. And remember that for function, argument with return value we have many things to do, that especially when we deal with array. When we deal with array we can also return many value, not just a single value. All right, now let's go to a more specific example. So in this part I will explain detail on program, on the argument, and so when those things appear in the example on the in the program. Now look at this example. So what this example does is that So this is the main program, main. So then this 3 line here, we just inform the C that in this program we have 3 subprogram. Yeah, we have 3 subprogram, which is statement 1, star line, and statement 2. And void in front means that this subprogram has no return value. So what does this program do? Then we call, okay, in order to understand what this program do, so just go down here. We have a statement 1. So this statement 1 means that it's referred to the function name statement 1. So we go to this function name statement 1. Where is it? Which is here. Yeah, this is the function of statement 1. Just prints, yeah, sample subprogram outputs. So if you run this program, the compiler will meet that statement first. So statement 1, so it prints statement 1. Having done that, it goes to star line. Star line, again, this is a name of the function. So it just goes to the star line. Where is star line? So we go down there. This is the star line. Okay, void star line, integer and everything here. So what we do here is just prints those star. How many? 17. Yeah, 17 star. Just print star and so on. Okay, so having done that, it goes to the statement 2. So what is statement 2? Statement 2 is print sample subprogram output 2. All right, so that's the process in the function called statement 2, and then again call that star line. So basically what this program do is that print the statement 1, write the star line, print statement 2, and write the star line. Okay, so if you run this program, the sample output will look like that. Okay, so you can see this is simple output, sample subprogram output, star line there, and then sample subprogram output 2, and then star line 2 there. Okay, so I suggest, since you have the compiler in your PC, on your laptop, just copy and run this program, see the output by yourself. Okay, so in the above example, so that means this example, there is no data transfer between the calling function and the call function. So what is the calling function? What is the call function? The calling function is the main program here. Let's come back to this function, this example. So this is main, is the main function, or our main program. So this statement 1, statement 2, statement 2. So this main function we call it as a calling function, and this subprogram or function we call it as a call function, which means this function being called into the main program. This main calling that function is called into that function. You can see inside the argument inside those function. Inside those function, we have no arguments, so means that no return value, no data transfer between main program and subprogram. Main program and the function, no data transfer. What do we mean by data transfer? Means any data from the main program can be transferred into the subprogram, into the function, of course with certain what I call certain expression that we can do later on, and also the data from the subprogram, from the function, can be passed into the main program and be used later. Okay, so when the function has no argument, if you just read from your notes there, when a function has no argument, it does not receive any data from the calling function. Similarly, when it does not return value, the calling function does not receive any data from the call function. This is what I just explained just now. A function does not return any value, cannot be used in expression that can be used only in independent statement. Okay, so when there is nothing to be returned, then the return statement is optional. So return statement here, normally at the end of the function, come back to the our example here. At the end of the function, normally we can put return whatever value there, but since this we don't have any value from the statement 2 that need to be used in the main program, so in that case we don't have to put return. You can put return, but you can just put return in bracket without anything, can, yeah, if you want to put, but without that is okay, so it's optional. Now the second type of function is the function with arguments but no return values. Now we come to the function with argument but still with no return values. Okay, this is a kind of communication between the main program and the subprogram, between the main program and the function. Okay, so the nature of data communication between the calling function and the arguments to the call function, and the call function does not return any values to the calling function. So this example, look at this example. This is okay, it's a bit hang there, yeah, it's a bit hanging there. So what is suddenly you got the value there. Okay, let me write this way. You have a main program here, you have a main program, okay, and then we have a subprogram called value here. Since it's written no data to the main program, you can use void value. Then we need argument here. Okay, this is, we call it as a dummy argument, and here in the actual argument we call that function into the main, which called value, where this value has argument 20, 1.2 and 3. Okay, so we have 3 arguments there. So in the function, in order to use that value, so we need to give the variable there. So let's call that variable, let's say R, S and T. Why 3? Because here we have 3 values, so we need 3 there as well. So in this case, and then the process continue here, your program continue here. Then this S and T, of course, you need to declare again in your function, and then you may use this function. I don't know, whatever it is, A probably R plus S plus T, for example, and then we print A, whatever it is, print F. I put just this, yeah, A. We print A. Now, so what does this program do? Yeah, I refer to the example in your notes where the calling function value with the actual argument 20, 1.2 and 3. So what does it mean? So this 20, 1.2, 1.3 can be used as a number like that, or you can also use as a variable. You can say, for example, instead of RST, you can put, let's say, R1, S1, T1, where R1, S1, T1 you can declare, and you can have a process that generate those value. What is R1? What is R2? S1? What is T1? Okay, then you can do by that, and then here you just call R1, S1, T1. So which means this value there, or R1, S1, T1 has this value from the process, or you can call it, you can do it just like that. So you can give the exact value if you have the those value like that. Okay, and then when we call this function, this is how we call the function. So this value 20, 1.2, 1.3 will be passed into the dummy argument here, S, R, S, and T. So now R has the value 20, S has a value 1.2, and T has a the value 3. When we go inside those function, then we have A is R plus S plus T. So where R, S, T, the value of those variables come from here. Then you can evaluate what T is. Okay, so this is the way we pass, or what we call it, communication between the main program and the subprogram. How does main program transfer the value, the data, to the subprogram or to the function? You might ask, in this case, why do we need to evaluate here A, R plus S plus T? Why don't we just evaluate here? Yes, we can also do, but remember that this is the process, the example to you to show how to use the function. Okay, how to use the function. Okay, so I hope you get me from that. Okay, now what's next? Okay, so that's we have this value. I've explained that part here, and this explanation is exactly as I explained to you. So this value would send 21.23 to the function value SRP. Okay, so which means send the value means R having the value 20, S having the value 20, R having the value 1.2, and P having the value 3. This value 20, 1.2, and 3 will be used in the subprogram or function called value. Okay, we call that this is actual argument. We call this actual argument. Remember, this is actual argument. In the function, here we have actual argument. Okay, here we call that, here this is the actual argument. Here we call it as a formal argument or dummy argument. You can use also dummy argument, yeah, dummy or formal argument. Formal argument. That. Okay. Now, look at this example. We have main, those function main. Forget about those declaration part and everything. We just that function. Then we have actual argument A1, A2, A3. This A1, A2, A3 generated, generated before that. We call that function. So means that we have the value A1, A2, A3. Either generated or we give the value as an initial value or whatever it is. So this value, when we call that function, alright, then this A1, A2, A3 will be passed into the appropriate function. So here in this case the function 1, here is function 1, so A1 passed to F1, A2 passed to F2, A3 passed to F3. So the value of F1, F2, F3 will take the value of A1, A2, A3 respectively. Then the function body here contain how do we process those data F1, F2, F3. Okay. We have some more example here. I think I have to stop here for a while, okay, before we go to the next example, because I think my my phone lack of memory is too big now. Yeah, I stop here, then we continue with the explanation in the next video. All right, thank you, bye bye.